Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with me, Nina, and my awesome friend, Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join us in conversation as we explore our interesting theme for today. Right. So how to take action? One is be proactive. That is the biggest thing. And the second one is we're going to go through this worksheet now together. So you can grab a pen and pencil already. The third thing is find or create the right group, like get a support structure in place that is going to help you with what it is you need. I can't tell you how important finding or creating the right group is to kind of like get you going. For me, the biggest thing was, the easiest thing that I did was with Craig, I wanted to walk every morning because I knew it was going to be good for me. Asked him, would he walk? We've pretty much been doing that for over 2 years now. It's something we do together. We motivate each other to get, it's actually become like, first thing we do when we wake up, we get up and we go walk. It's not even a decision either of us make. It's just part of our daily routine. But 2 years ago, we had to make a commitment to each other that we are going to kind of like get up and go for a walk. So you want to find, if say walking is something that you want to increase, then you need to find a walking group, or you need to find a walking partner, a neighbor, someone who's not going to let you off the hook. That's where Craig's really good. He's not going to let me off the hook. He's not going to turn around and be like, oh no, it's a bit windy out today, let's not go. He's very good. He kind of like says, okay, come, we're going. And the great thing is we've got a dog as well, Carter. He's under my desk now. He'll also be like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, we're going for a walk. So find or create the right group. If that's not possible, find a coach or a mentor or someone who can guide you in the right direction. And then invest in your health and your wellness. That is a big one that I learned 2 years ago, is that sometimes it takes money to find the right groups or to make that investment. And it will pay you back in buckets with time. Because when you're investing with people who've done what you're wanting to do, they can show you the easy route and how kind of like the easy route to go, and also how much fun it can be, instead of it being like a slog where you have to try and motivate yourself every morning to get up to go for that walk. If you're in the right group, if you're with the right people, if you've got the right coach or mentor, whatever the story is, doing that action step that may seem really difficult now could be easy. And I'm just using walking as an example. It could be something completely different. It could be making healthy meals, doing a meditation practice, doing a yoga practice. It could be the kind of like decluttering your house. There are so many different things that are different for each person that are needed. All right. So that brings us to kind of like the fun part of today's course, where you really now get to decide and make this your own. So I emailed you guys a sheet. You can print out as many of these as you want. And I would generally say print one for each issue. So for example, how I navigate, I've got here kind of like my, period pain, menstrual pain. If you have like arthritis, then you create one that's just like when you've got an arthritic flare-up, how that, when you have an anxiety attack, if that's there, you put that in. If you have a feeling of sadness or depression, if you have kind of like maybe you get frozen shoulder, or maybe you get seasonal coughs and colds, maybe there's someone in your family who just always gets bronchitis, or has IBS, or feeling bloated. So you can create as many of these as you want or need for yourself or for your family, so that when the issue arises, that you literally, that's what I did yesterday. I could pull this out, I could look at my protocol, and I didn't have to go into that decision fatigue of like, okay, what kind of things am I going to eat or drink today? I knew exactly what was on my list. I knew what needed to happen. I could give it to Craig as well and say, bring me cranberry juice. Simple, easy. But if I had to now think of like, what is it that I want? Do I want this? Do I want tea? Do I want that? You get even more exhausted when you're in a healing crisis to have to make a decision when it's actually not necessary. So let's start together with kind of like what the first little circle we've got here is meals. So think of, just choose kind of like one thing you want to navigate. For me, for example, it's going to be my menstrual pain, period pain, something like that. For you, it could be something different. But just choose one, don't do everything. You can kind of like watch this section again and do this part again for another one. But what meals, food, nourishment, maybe I should have called it nourishment, actually is better. And generally when we're in a healing crisis, we want something that is vata pacifying. So anything that is really warm and nourishing and mushy. But if this is not resonating with you, when you kind of like, you know, feel that, I don't know, you have congestion in your chest, then like, what is it that you really feel like eating that you know is nutrient dense and good for you? Not because you want to. Ice cream and chocolate cake are not coming here because that's what you feel like eating. Generally, when we're in a healing crisis, we want something that is easy to digest. So soups and stews. So you might like have like, oh, you know, I really love like butternut soup, or I really love like a chicken stew. And just write that down. And the other thing that you want to make sure of, and I know why I struggled, is because hydration was low. So often something will kick in is because hydration is low, and you might just want to put in there that you want to remind yourself to hydrate in some hot water, or maybe have some spice water. If you've done one of my clean eating challenge, you'll know that I've given some spice water recipes like the CCF, the coriander, cumin, and fennel tea. You put a quarter of a teaspoon of each of those spices in a thermo flask, and you just let that sit for a day, and you sip on that all day long. You can refill it again once you've drunk that. That's lovely for kind of like digestion. So you might have like a spice water recipe or a tea combo that you know that kind of like when the menstrual pain sets in, or the arthritis or whatnot, is super helpful for you. The other thing that I wanted to put in here with meals is never force yourself to eat. Often your body knows that when it's going through a healing crisis, it needs time and space. And if you're not hungry, don't eat. Let your body go into kind of like the fat storage. So getting out of glucose metabolism, going deep into fat metabolism. Let it clear out house. Sometimes it means you're not going to eat maybe for a day and a half. You're still sipping hot water and drinking. And just know that it is okay. You don't have to force yourself to eat. When it comes to young kids, that's a different story, because you still need to watch them with their growth hormones. For us adults, it's not a problem if we go for a day or two without eating, so long as we don't have an eating disorder issue. Let me just put that in there. So yeah, just making notes. Like for me, one of the things with my periods, like cranberry juice, like I'd said earlier, that is on here for me. I also really love having stewed apples with cinnamon. That gives me that really nice warm feeling, and it feels good for me. It's one of my favorite meals. So I don't eat, like yesterday I didn't eat a lot, but that would have been something that I would have eaten. All right, so hopefully you've got a couple of ideas there that you can put in for meals. Also remember that this isn't like a once-off thing that you're going to do. So the next time the healing crisis comes in and you're like, this juice didn't really work for me, or this tea didn't really work for me, or I had this the other day and this was really nice. You update your list and you change it. It evolves with you and as you evolve. Also, as you start to get healthier, you'll realize that less of the cruxes that you had, kind of like, they can fall away and maybe better options or different options will arise. But like, do what you need now so that when it happens, the healing crisis arises, you know what you can do for yourself. All right, exercise. Again, all of us are exercising, hopefully, but often our exercising needs to change when a healing crisis occurs. And how do you need to change or adapt it for you? For me, our walks become a lot shorter and a lot slower, and they become a lot more mindful. My yoga practice ends up just being literally lying on my mat in whatever position my body needs to be in. I usually have kind of like two postures where it's a child's pose. For me, being closed and forwards is lovely. And then kind of like having my buttocks up like a little puppy stretch works well for me as well. What works for me and the cramps and the mental tension that I feel are going to be completely different for someone else. Like my friend Andy, she loves lying on her back with her knees open and spread. That doesn't work for me. So this is where it really becomes really important, where there's not one protocol that if we have arthritis, that these are the steps that we need to take. It has to be very specific to you and what you need. The other thing that I have in my exercise here is a playlist. So I've got kind of like the uplifted set that I'm subscribed to. There's a lovely sacral chakra class there with a lot of breathing. I know that. So now, again, yesterday, I could literally go into that app, find that session, play it, and enjoy it. I didn't have to now scroll through a whole load of playlists, try and find something I want. I knew exactly what would work for me and what was good for me. So it might be helpful to have one or two links to a playlist or a class or something like that that work for you. Right, so that is under exercise. The next one we would look at is kind of like bedtime routine. And this is really important when you're sick. It's just like, what time does that natural fatigue kick in? And it might be a lot earlier than when you normally go to bed. And that's because when we're sick, our body needs rest. And it might be like, for a lot of my postpartum moms, a healing crisis, kind of like postpartum, it might not just be, that you're navigating that for a couple of days or a week or a month even. It might even be like a year. So it might be that like, wow, at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, I am tired, I am exhausted. And you listen to your natural fatigue and you go to sleep. And you don't think that you have to stay up till 10 or 11 o'clock because that's what society or culture dictates as being normal. If your body is tired, listen to it, get into rhythm, and get the rest that you're needing. All right. Another nice one is kind of like foot rubs or massages, maybe a bath, or a specific evening meditation. Again, write down where that link is. And electronic devices away, TVs away, electronic devices away. If anything, you can maybe listen to like an audio book or something like that, but not where you've got light in your face and your eyes. For mine, what I'm just trying to think what else I've got in here is like a hot water bottle. That's something that is there. It wasn't actually a big one this time. It's probably something I can slowly start to cross off my list. Or maybe it's just because there was heat here, because it's so hot here in Mozambique at the moment. But so maybe that's kind of something I'm going to put in brackets and see like, is it really something I'm going to need if this healing crisis arises in the future? So that's where this becomes adaptable. So what would your bedtime routine look like when you in your specific healing crisis? All right. Specific support. If anything, this is the biggest one that you want to be filling out. what specific support can you ask from a specific person? So maybe it is your partner that you have specific requests that they can do for you. Maybe there are friends that will be able to kind of like pick up kids from school or drop them off. Is there a specific person you can do that? Maybe there's someone else in the family you can do that. Have you got like, if you've got families and kids and husbands and things like, is there a simple meal like I don't know, a chicken stew or curry that either the kids could prepare or your husband could prepare, spaghetti bolognese, I don't know, veg curry, a soup, so that you don't have to. And maybe you just want to clip that recipe to here so that like healing crisis occurs, you can give it to your teenage kid to kind of like make for the family. You can give it to your husband to make. You know, the ingredients are something that you've always got in the house. It's simple. It's something they can do. They'll get nourished. They don't have to bother you. You don't have to get involved in meal cooking, prepping, anything like that. Maybe when it comes to pets, who is able to feed the pets, who can do what? Work commitments, who can you dictate certain work commitments to? That's what I've got, like in my course, I've got like Renelle and Andy would be able to navigate my Monday meetings. Something like this, doing this talk, no one can. So what do I have here? If they're workshops, it says postpone. And that's what I did yesterday. I postponed. I listened to kind of what I'd written in specific support for me so that I know that I can navigate my healing crisis with ease, quicker and faster. And it just proved that it worked, I must say. All right. So this is where you really want to spend a little bit of more time, is like, who can you ask specific support for to do what specifically? So get kind of like your support people, write their names down, and what it is they could do. If you've got young kids, you might need to get a friend, a family member, someone in to help with looking after them. If you've got teenage kids, maybe they are able to do certain things, feed the dog, walk the dog, you know, take out the cat litter, whatever the story is. And then you just delegate those roles and responsibilities when you are sick. If you haven't already done that as a parent, you probably should have. That everyone is already doing a little bit of something here and there. All right, but you get the gist. And then again, the big one here is meditation, or just quiet time, like time for self-reflection where you can maybe journal. And I'm going to actually add that in right here because it's so important. Journaling. And asking yourself these questions, kind of like, why this? So kind of like, why is this healing crisis happening? Why now? Like, why was it yesterday? Why this? Why now? And why the hell me? And do kind of like some of that conscious stream of writing where you're just writing. So maybe you can put your timer on for a couple of minutes, for 3 minutes, why this? And you just write like, why this healing crisis? And then maybe put another 3 minutes, like, why now? And just write. Don't kind of like try and understand what it is you're writing. Whatever words come out, just let them come out. And why me? And this journaling process of this quiet time of why this, why now, why me, these questions really help you sink a level deeper and a little level further. Right, so that should actually be the top there. Journaling, very important to help you kind of deeper understand. And then there might be, again, a list of meditations that work for you. I love using Inside Time. I've got David G on there. Again, he's one of my favorites. I've got 2 or 3 that I like. I write those down. He's got like a healing one, plop. So yesterday I could just lie in bed and just listen to the voice and go through that meditation. And I didn't have to get caught up in scrolling on Facebook or Instagram and all of that. I was actually doing something that was so much more nourishing and nurturing. We want to try and take our energy away from things that are zapping, and being on sticky social media things can be really, really exhausting for us, especially when we are in a healing crisis. It feels great because it gives us instant gratification. But actually, when we get caught in that loop, and then we just spend a lot of time, and then we notice how that instant gratification starts declining and declining and declining. And then after like half an hour, we start feeling really bad with ourselves. All right. So that is your worksheet. Use it, let it evolve with you as you go. What I also do is at the back of it, I kind of like have my emergency list, if that makes sense. So if the protocols that I've got here aren't working, what are kind of like the medications I need to take? What is there? So I kind of like, so this is something I can give, so I can give to Craig, so that he knows, listen, if Nina's really struggling, give her Ponstan. That's what's going to help her. Here I've got a capsule and water because I don't like taking a tablet because I end up throwing up. So if he mixes it in water, I can get it down. Simple little thing, I've written it down. He knows what to do if it needs to happen. If I have a migraine, he knows that I have to have a migraine bomb. Haven't had one of those in ages, which is fantastic. So obviously it means that I'm heading in the right direction. And so you really want to just have like your emergency list there as well, of maybe there are contact numbers you need to call, or like I said, staple or put in recipes that you want. Make it like a really, I keep mine in a plastic sleeve, and you can kind of like file them all together and just have them in an easily accessible place. Pretty much what we want to do is just make things simple for ourselves when we are in a healing crisis. And how easy can you make it for yourself? Less complexity. We want less movement. We want more stability. Excuse me. And we want to have more connection. That is really what it's all about. I'm going to grab some water. How simple can we make things for ourselves? All right. What I also find is we so often get caught up in labels when it comes to disease. Kind of like one of the big labels I got caught up last year this time was hypothyroidism. I got diagnosed with that and I thought, oh, I'm so super special. And that, it's just like, no, it's just another disease. And when we start like a disease of chronic inflammation, when we start to differentiate ourselves, we try and separate ourselves. When we understand that all pretty much diseases stem from chronic inflammation, that we are actually so much more alike than we are different. And when we realize that, then we can come together and we can communicate, and we can be kind of like commune with each other from a space of deeper understanding and connection. So if you haven't watched the inflammation workshop yet, please go ahead and do that, because I think you'll gain some really good insights on your level of inflammation and kind of like how you're able to address it as well. Right, so now that we've done that, next action steps that you can take. One is really be honest with yourself and your level of disease and where you are with your health. Take action, no matter how small, and it might just be filling out a couple of these forms for you, for your family, for your clients, so that you have something tangible that you can use to move forward. You want to start investing in your health, in yourself, as soon as possible. So don't think that someone else is going to do it for you. You can't wait for government or legislation or anything like that to be the one who's going to invest in you and your health. You really have to take control and make that investment in your own health, so that you are doing the healthy lifestyle practices and following through with them. And the easiest way that I know to do that is to be in the right group of people and to hang out with those who are doing what it is that you want to be doing.
Thank you for listening to our Nourish and Restore podcast today. To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga. For more information on working with me, Nina Saacks, visit www.yogaaa.co.za. And to work with my awesome friend Nicole, visit www.lov-me.com. Links will be in the show notes. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Namaste and have a nourishing